Mary Bryan was an American actress, who made the transition from silent films to sound films. Early life. Bryan was born in Corsicana, Texas, the daughter of Taurrence J. Dantzler and Louise B. Her brother was Taurrence J. Dantzler Jr. Her father died when she was 1 month old and the family later moved to Dallas, Texas. In the early 1920s, they moved to Long Beach, California. She had intended becoming an illustrator, but that was laid aside when at age 16 she was discovered in a local bathing beauty contest. One of the judges was actress Esther Ralston. She didn't win the $25 prize in the contest, but Ralston said, "You've got to give the little girl something." So, her prize was to be interviewed by director Herbert Brenon for a role in Peter Pan. Brenon was recovering from eye surgery, and she spoke with him in a dimly lit room. He asked me a few questions. "Is that your hair?" Out of the blue, he said I would like to make a test. Even to this day, I will never know why I was that lucky. They had made tests of every ingenue in the business for Wendy. He had decided he would go with an unknown. It would seem more like a fairy tale. It wouldn't seem right if the roles were to be taken by someone they knew or was divorced. I got the part. They put me under contract. The studio renamed her Mary Bryan. Discovery. After her showing in the beauty contest, she was given an audition by Paramount Pictures and cast by director Herbert Brenon as Wendy Darling in his silent movie version of J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan. There she starred with Betty Bronson and Esther Ralston, and the three of them stayed close for the rest of their lives. Ralston described both Bronson and Bryan as very charming people. The movie studio, who created her stage name for the movie and said she was age 16 instead of 18 because the latter sounded too old for the role, then signed her to a long-term contract. Bryan played Fancy Vanhern, daughter of Percy Marmont, in Brennan's The Street of Forgotten Men, which had newcomer Louise Brooks in an uncredited role as Amal. Career rise. Bryan was dubbed the sweetest girl in pictures. On loan out to MGM, she played a college belle, Mary Abbott, opposite William Haynes and Jack Pickford in Brown of Harvard. She was named one of the WAMPA's baby stars in 1926, along with Mary Astor, Dolores Costello, Joan Crawford, Dolores Del Rio, Janet Gaynor, and Fay Wray. During her years at Paramount, Bryan appeared in more than 40 movies as the lead, the ingenue or co-star. She worked with Brenon again in 1926 when she played Isabel in P.C. Wren's Beau Geste starring Ronald Colman. The same year, she made Behind the Front in Harold Teen. In 1928, she played ingenue Alice Dean in Forgotten Faces opposite Clive Brook, her sacrificing father, with Olga Baklanova as her vixen mother and William Powell as Froggy. Forgotten Faces is preserved in the Library of Congress. Successful transition to sound films. Her first sound film was Varsity, which was filmed with part sound and talking sequences, opposite Buddy Rogers. After successfully making the transition to sound, she co-starred with Gary Cooper, Walter Houston and Richard Arlen in The Virginian, her first all-sound movie. In it, she played a spirited frontier heroine, schoolmarm Molly Stark Wood, who was the love interest of the Virginian. Bryan co-starred in several hits during the 1930s, including her role as Gwen Cavendish in George Cukor's comedy The Royal Family of Broadway with Ina Claire and Frederick March, as herself in Paramount's all-star revue Paramount on Parade, as Peggy Grant in Louis Milestone's comedy The Front Page with Adolphe Menjot and Pat O'Brien. After her contract with Paramount ended in 1932, Bryan decided to freelance, which was unusual in a period when multi-year contracts with one studio were common. The same year, she appeared on the vaudeville stage at New York City's Palace Theater. Also in the same year, she starred in Manhattan Tower. Other movie roles include Muriel Ross, aka Muriel Rossi, in Shadows of Sing Sing, in which she received top billing, Gloria Van Dahum in College Rhythm, Yvette Lamartine in Charlie Chan in Paris, Hope Wolfinger, W.C. Fields' daughter, in Man on the Flying Trapeze, Sally Barnaby in Spendthrift, and Doris in Navy Blues, in which she received top billing. In 1936, she went to England and made 3 movies, including The Amazing Quest of Ernest Bliss, in which she starred opposite Cary Grant, whom she became engaged at one stage. Her final film of the 1930s was Affairs of Cappy Ricks, but she auditioned unsuccessfully for the part that went to Janet Gaynor in A Star is Born. Later career. When World War II occurred in 1941, Bryan began traveling to entertain the troops, spending most of the war years traveling the world with the USO, and entertaining servicemen from the South Pacific to Europe, including Italy and North Africa. Commenting on those events that had occurred over 50 years ago, she said in 1996, "I was with Charlie Ruggles in Okinawa. And I was on the island of Tinian when they dropped the atomic bomb. Colonel Paul Tibbets, who was the pilot and the officer in charge, took Charlie and me on the plane the next day, and nobody had been allowed in that encampment. So I was on the Enola Gay. Flying to England on a troop shoot, Mary got caught in the Battle of the Bulge and spent the Christmas of 1944 with the soldiers fighting that battle. She appeared in only a handful of films thereafter. Her last performance in movies was in Dragnet. Over the course of 22 years, Bryan had appeared in more than 79 movies. She played in the stage comedy Mary Had a Little, in the 1951 in Melbourne, Australia, co-starring with John Hubbard. Like many older actresses, during the 1950s Bryan created a career in television. Perhaps her most notable role was playing the title character's mother in Meet Corliss Archer in 1954. She also dedicated much time to portrait painting after her acting years. Personal life and death. Although she was engaged numerous times and was linked romantically to numerous Hollywood men, including Cary Grant and silent film actor Jack Pickford, Bryan had only 2 husbands. magazine illustrator John Whitcomb and film editor George Tomasini. After retiring from movies for good, she devoted herself to her husband's career. Tomasini worked as film editor for Hitchcock on Rear Window and Psycho. She died of natural causes on December 30, 2002, at a retirement home in Del Mar, California at the age of 96. She is interred in the Eternal Love section, Lot 4134, Space 2, Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills Cemetery, overlooking Burbank, California. Legacy. In 1960, Bryan was inducted into the Hollywood Walk of Fame with a motion picture star at 1559 Vine Street.